Hi guys, Canadian Angry Video Game Nerd here. This was originally going to be a segment I wanted to include in my Mario 64 Iceberg video around the part with the Polybius and Lavender Town were cover-ups for Mario 64, but I figured it would be too out of place, so it's getting its own separate video because I wanted to talk about it since before the iceberg image even existed. I'm sure many of you are familiar with creepypastas. They're basically internet campfire stories, the best ones being those that try to have some semblance of being real. To me, the definition of a creepypasta is a fictional story that is written as though it could have happened. You can probably see where I'm going with this. The Lavender Town Syndrome creepypasta is way too infamous for its own good. The story goes that in the original versions of Pokemon Red and Blue, which were Pokemon Red and Green in Japan, the music for Lavender Town was higher pitched and caused headaches, nosebleeds, and even suicides in at least 200 Japanese children. Now this is by no means a good creepypasta, it's essentially one of those,
"This is a really scary video, and if you look at it, you die. Spooky."
Like Mariana Mordegard Glesgore. Like, come on dude. Now, the Lavender Town pasta has a tiny bit of truth to it. In late 1997, an episode of the Pokemon anime aired, which contained rapidly flashing explosion effects, which did cause epileptic seizures in over 700 Japanese viewers. But the difference is that this sort of flashing thing was relatively common in anime, and epilepsy is an actual known disorder. Suicide due to listening to Pokemon music is not a thing, obviously. At this point you may be wondering, Mishu, this is a creepypasta, you know it's fake. Why are you trying to debunk it? I know that it's fake, and I trust that you know it's fake too. But I do not trust the vast majority of dumb kids on the internet to know this. There are a bunch of videos that come up if you just search Lavender Town music on YouTube that include fan-made creepypasta versions of the quote-unquote original Japanese versions of the song. Now, there are two possibilities here. One, the people uploading these things know it's fake but choose to include it anyway for some reason, even though they're including it right next to the actual legit music. Or two, the uploaders don't know that it's a creepypasta somehow. You might also be thinking, but it's so obviously fake. There's no one who could actually think it's real, right? You'd be surprised. Around 2 years ago, I uploaded a video titled All Known Deaths on iCarly. The video somehow got a ton of views for a channel as small as mine, and a lot more comments than I'm used to. In fact, it still gets comments pretty frequently. The video is so obviously fake, and I made sure to include a typo in every block of text, and made sure that every bit of information was wrong so that it was abundantly clear that the video was satire. Yet, still, in the comments, I get people who are probably all younger viewers telling me,
"Dude, this video's so fake, bro. This guy's lying. I can't believe it. Don't listen to him, guys."
Don't get me wrong. I love shitposting when I reply to these people, and they rarely catch on that it's just a big joke. But that just goes to show, if I can make an obvious, clear as day fake video on fucking iCarly deaths and still get gullible kids flooding the comments, I 1000% believe that there's a large group of kids out there believing that the original versions of Pokemon caused you to die. So with all that being said, let's just put this creepypasta in the ground. Number 1. Now, there are a few other urban myths where people listen to some song and commit suicide, but I don't think most people reading these creepypastas, or even the ones writing them for that matter, realize that humans don't just take their own lives on a whim. I don't want to get on a soapbox on some video where I'm debunking a scary Pokemon story, but using suicide as the stinger to your spooky story is honestly insulting to people who've been affected by someone actually committing suicide. I know that last point was a bit heavy, so let's just move on. Number 2. The creepypasta claims that the original song had some high-pitched tones that triggered these responses from people. The several fan-made versions try to recreate this, with one of the most famous ones containing a spectrograph image of the ghost sprite, and unknowns spelling "leave now." Very spooky. The GameBoy is predictably not able to make sounds like this, since it only has 4 tiny sound channels that it can use. Number 3. Now, you'd think this rumor would be very easy to verify for people who actually believed it at some point. Just download a Japanese version of the ROM, or watch some Japanese gameplay and listen to it for yourself. Of course, if you do that, you'll find that the Japanese version of Lavender Town has 0 differences from the international versions, which is why some variations of the rumor say that the music was only like this in beta versions. which completely contradicts the idea that hundreds of Japanese kids were exposed to this song, but I'm not the one writing this garbage. Number 4. Let's just think for a moment about the why here. Why would Game Freak consciously program in some cursed song that causes Japanese children, their target demographic, to fucking die? Game Freak could barely program the rest of the game. You think they were able to include some sort of goddamn mind control song in there too? Now, for the why question, you could say the same thing about the Japanese episode with the flashing colors, but to reiterate, this effect was kinda common and wasn't placed there with malicious intent, whereas a spectrograph image of a ghost saying "leave now" would be anything but innocent. And number 5, building off that last point, if this shit actually happened, don't you think there would be any news about it? The Porygon episode is well documented even though it aired one time and was never re-released. You'd think a game which sold 30 million units would have some news source saying that the original versions had an ear-destroying hour-long note in it. Needed as my ringing tone. That's pretty much all I had to say about this dumb Lavender Town thing. Kids are stupid, you know they'll believe anything that looks kinda legit. The Wario apparition is 100% real though. I have seen the error of my ways, and as such I'm spending all my remaining money on garlic in an attempt to appease him. Please hit the subscribe button if you believe in Wario. My family is in danger. Goodbye.
In fact, I'd have more fun taking out the garbage. Like this game!